There's a story I read about you and Paul McCartney. You came to Paul McCartney and you wanted to make Live and Let Die into Chicken Pot Pie.
Right, because in the early 90s, Guns N' Roses had a hit with Live and Let Die.
Right.
So it would have been topical.
Yes.
And I hesitate to bring this up. I've talked about it in many interviews, and I hate to put Paul on the list of people who said no, but as it turns out, he felt uncomfortable with me doing a parody of one of his songs called Chicken Pot Pie because, as you know, Paul and Linda McCartney, strict vegetarians, and
right.
They didn't want to be associated with anything that was condoning the consumption of animal flesh.
Right.
So what got back to me was like, he'd be okay if it was tofu pot pie or like veggie pot pie or whatever.
Right, which I found hilarious because here's Paul McCartney, arguably the greatest songwriter on the planet, and he doesn't understand that tofu pot pie is not nearly as funny as chicken pot pie because chicken sounds like livin'.
Right.
And that must have been a funny situation.
And the big thing was the chorus of the song would have been bak, 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 bak. So that it all tied in. It was brilliant. but yeah, it was at least it was a reason. I mean, it made sense. I mean, there was a reason he wanted me to make the change. Whereas on the rare occasions when artists say no, usually there's no reason given. Just kind of like, no, I don't have a sense of humor. Leave me alone.
Right. Has there ever been one where you're like, this is great, and then you didn't get to do it?
Well, yeah, I had a couple ideas that would have been, I think, pretty good. Prince famously never let me do any parodies, and I approached him maybe half a dozen times, and he just wasn't into it. It is pretty rare. Most people have agreed to it. I always get permission for parodies, whether legally I have to or not. And I've had a pretty good track record. Most artists look at it as sort of a badge of honor to get a Weird Al parody.
Yeah, exactly. Was there a specific Prince song that you thought that's the one? Like,
oh gosh, there are several. There was a parody of 1999 where I was going to have it be like an old late night commercial, like you can get this for $19.99. You know?
Right.
So I had several ideas, most of which I thought were pretty good, but just. He wasn't into it, and it's always been my policy that if the artist doesn't want me to do it, I'm going to back off.
Did you ever meet him and like sort of have a face-to-face?
Not really. We've been in the same room a few times. I always got the vibe that he didn't really want to have a face-to-face. So I kind of let him be.
So was that a learning curve for you when you were starting out on how you do that stuff and how you, because I know if you talk to the wrong person, the door can shut before you even had the conversation.
At that point, I think I'd signed my record deal, so there were people in place that, lawyers that could like make those calls and make things happen. But when I first started out, again, it was just a goof on the Dr. Memo show. When I did My Bologna and when I did Another One Rides the Bus.
You weren't getting permission from Queen.
No, I was not. And thankfully, they were good sports about it. I mean, I think I didn't get any kind of publishing at all on those songs, but they didn't they didn't pursue any kind of legal action. They just said, "Oh, Al's just having fun," and they were great about it. But that's when I learned oh, you need permission to do this kind of stuff.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, then why not subscribe? Click right here for lots more off camera. And if you want to see the hour-long version of these conversations, I'm going to give you the secret link. Here it is, offcamera.com. Check it out.